about myself. I'm on the swim team. I'm really a social person. I love people. I love trying new things, and I compete in pageants. So being in front of people, this is a little bit different, but usually I'm not uncomfortable with it. But like I said, I've been swimming, and I've been swimming for almost 10 years, and I really love it. It's one of the things that I feel that I'm gifted in, and I've been doing it for a long time. So I'm on the swim team at Garner, and I'm never nervous at swim meets. I love swimming, and it's something I'm confident when I'm doing. And in November, we had the first meet of my senior year, and we were at Campbell University. And that's the pool that I grew up swimming at. So I was excited to start the new swim season and not nervous at all about my events. They were things that I've done a million times. So I was getting ready to swim my first event, and I just got hit with a feeling like nothing I'd ever felt before. My heart was racing really fast. I was hot. I was shaky, and I felt nervous, which was weird because I never get nervous at swim meets. So I swam my first event, and I got out of the pool, and I was still feeling really bad. And I figured, I guess I'm really out of shape. I need to work on getting myself ready for my next meet. But about 30 minutes later, I still wasn't feeling good. I was hot, I was shaky, and it was really weird because it never happened before. Can you go to the first slide? For those of you who don't know, a panic attack is a sudden episode of extreme fear that triggers severe physical reaction when there is no real danger or apparent cause. They're extremely frightening, and many patients express feelings of losing control, having a heart attack, or even dying. This is what I felt at the swim meet, and it was terrifying because I had no clue what was going on. And I finished the swim meet, and on the way home, I was still panicky, and I had no idea what was going on. And I think that's why I was so scared. It's because I didn't know what was going on. And I actually ended up crying, which was really weird because I never felt like this before. And my mom kind of talked me through it when I got upset, and I ended up falling asleep really late that night. I was scared still from what I had been feeling and wasn't really calm. And the next day at school, I was fine. I was fine when I got there at school. I was fine in the morning when I woke up. And as soon as I sat down in English class, the same feeling came across. And I've always loved school, kind of a nerd. So school's never been anything I worried about, and I sat down in class, and it was just so weird that I was panicking over sitting in English class. And I was like this for about a month. I started just fearing everything because I was scared I was going to have a panic attack. Started avoiding school, going out with friends, or actually in public in general. And it was just really discouraging because I had lived such a social life beforehand, and I love being with my friends, and I love talking to people, and I love going to school. So I started getting really depressed. And you can go to the next slide. This is an entry from my journal that I write in almost every day. It's from early December. I'm going to read it to y'all. Ever since my first panic attack about a month ago, I've been in an extreme fog. As pathetic as it sounds, nothing makes me happy for more than a few minutes. The new medicine I'm taking isn't helping. I've even got a new symptom. I'm literally scared of everything. Scared to go to school, scared to go in stores, scared to drive, scared to leave my house, and especially scared to leave my parents. It really bothers me because I've never been the kind of person who needs to be around my parents 24/7. I used to enjoy going out, but now I'm just scared to. I don't even know what I'm scared of. I guess I'm scared something bad is going to happen. What's really annoying is the fact that I'm scared to go to bed some nights, and I have no idea why. I just miss being happy. I feel like I have no control over my emotions, and I'm always down in the dumps. My chest actually feels heavy sometimes. I get so sad. I pray about it a lot, but I haven't been feeling much better. I feel dumb because I've taken things I'm supposed to look forward to and turned them into things to worry about. I'm just worn out. So this is kind of how I felt on a day-to-day basis. Things would make me laugh, but I wasn't happy deep down. And nothing that my friends or family could do really fixed it. I have very supportive parents, brother and sister, and awesome friends. And they were an encouragement. They were always there to listen to me. But they couldn't really understand what I was feeling. And I think that was couldn't really express what I was feeling. It was just something that happened a lot, and I didn't really know how to put into words. So I went to the doctor a lot, and that was really annoying because I'm usually not a sick person, but we went in and out of doctors, and they just prescribed me medicines, and I started taking medicines, and I still wasn't feeling really better, and school literally took every ounce of my energy. I didn't want to talk to anybody, I didn't want to participate in class, nothing like that, and that's really unusual for me, and my teacher started to notice something was wrong, and I really didn't want to talk about it at that point because I didn't know how to explain it, and I was scared people were going to judge me. So school's really the most difficult part about it. And then on January 2nd, right after New Year's, I woke up around 2 o'clock in the morning. I sat straight up in bed. I was in a cold sweat and I was really lightheaded. I was nauseous and my heart was beating on my chest, and I had a really bad headache. And it was a weird headache. It's not like a pain, but it sounds really weird, but it felt like my brain was asleep, like when your hands and feet fall asleep. That's what it felt like. I thought I was having a panic attack, so I went and took some anxiety medicine and waited about 30 minutes because I thought that would help. And it didn't go away, so I went downstairs and got my mom. And as soon as I walked downstairs and woke my mom up, I got really nauseous, so I had to run to the bathroom and I got sick again. At that point, I had a new symptom, and my body was shaking uncontrollably. Not just like a shiver because I wasn't cold, but my body just shook. And it was really weird because I didn't notice I was doing it at first, and then my mom actually commented on something. She was like, "Are you cold? Because you're shaking." And I looked down, and my body was just trembling, and I couldn't stop. And it made my muscles really tired. So it was not only like the pain of the headache and the heart beating on my chest and the cold sweats, but my body just hurt because it was so tense. I threw up some more, which is gross, sorry for nasty details, but my mom ended up taking my blood pressure. She does all the medical stuff, so that's an advantage for being a pharmacist, I guess. And it was really, really, really high. So we rushed to the hospital, and I'd never been to the hospital before. And I was really nervous because I didn't know what to expect. And with all these panic attacks, that was the last thing I needed, is to not know what to expect. I had no idea what was wrong with me, and I honestly thought that I was going to die. And it might sound dumb, but I honestly thought that was the end because I couldn't breathe. My heart was beating out of my chest, and I was losing vision. It was weird symptoms, but we got there, and I couldn't walk in. They wheeled me in on a wheelchair, and God sent his angels ahead of us because there was nobody in the waiting room, not one person. And usually, I've heard that you have to wait a long time to get into in the ER to see a doctor. So that was the first thing. Then they took me back, did some tests, and 2 doctors came in actually. And we talked for a little while, and it really wasn't long, and I was already feeling better because I felt like I was at the hospital. If anything bad was going to happen, that I had the people there that would take care of me if I needed them. But it turned out to be a reaction to the new medicine I was taking. So obviously they told me to stop taking the medicine and sent me home. The next day I was just absolutely exhausted. My body hurt from shaking so much, and I slept basically the whole day. After that, I started seeing a Christian counselor, Miss Angela. She's great. And she taught me how to cope with my anxiety. Not how to get rid of it, but things I could do to kind of recognize when a panic attack was coming on and how to maybe prevent it. She taught me certain breathing exercises that lowered my heart rate when I was getting nervous about something. And even though this helped a little bit, I still was feeling really down and afraid of everything. I dreaded school because it took every ounce of my energy, and I didn't really like being away from home. By the end of January, I was starting to feel a little bit better, and I was spending a lot more time with the Lord than I had been before this all started. And I think that was because I realized He was my only hope. The medicines weren't working. Seeing counselor was helping, but it wasn't helping all the way. And no one really could understand what I was going through. You can go to the next slide. I read this verse in my morning devotions, and it really was kind of like a slap in the face. It's Jeremiah 29:11. It says, For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope in the future. So at that point I realized that God was putting me through all of this for a reason, and that was to draw me closer to Him. I spent a lot more time with the Lord, and that really did give me a hope. And I knew that even though I didn't feel good now, that He was doing this for a reason, and it was all to bring glory to Him. So I continued to barely make it through the day. I still didn't like being in public. I was panicked easily. And I think that was the thing that bothered me the most, is I couldn't do things that I love to do, and I didn't know why they were making me so panicky and giving me panic attacks. So I started a new medicine, I think end of January, early February. I guess it was later in January. And now I'm feeling a lot better. I'm still not 100%, but I'm a lot more comfortable talking about it, and I know how to cope with it a lot better. I had this devotion book called Jesus Calling, and my parents gave me that for Christmas, and that's something that has really helped. It's kind of like the author that wrote it made it seem like Jesus was talking specifically to you, and it's all about peace and handing over your worries to Him, and that's really helped me a lot. Like I said, I'm feeling better, but just pray that I continue to be healed and that I can overcome this 100%. You can go to the next slide. So during my struggle with all this, I read Philippians 4:11 through 13. And that says, I have learned to be content in whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all things through Him who gives me strength. So Paul wrote this while he was in jail, and not the jails like we have today, obviously. There was no air conditioning, no heat. It was disgusting. He wasn't fed. And many times Paul was beaten almost to death. He was constantly misunderstood, and his friends left him out. And Paul's life was anything but perfect and lacked control, but he still found the strength to say that he had learned to be content whatever his circumstances was. This kind of spoke to me because I had no control over what I was feeling at any point. So I knew that I had to find contentment in God and God alone, and so I started trying to learn how to find this contentment. Paul recognized that the source and strength of all Christian contentment is God Himself. So contentment happens when Christ's strength is present in our body, soul, and spirit. This strength can be found in His Word. So I started spending a lot more time in His Word and talking to Him on the way to school, at school, talking to Him a lot more. And I wouldn't just say, dear God, I'm having a good day. I would tell Him my fears, and I actually started thanking Him for putting the fears in my life and the panic. And that turned a new page because I realized that He had put me through this because He was drawing me closer to Him. Finally, kind of my last thing is, what you see as a fault in yourself, for me it was anxiety and depression, can actually be used for God's glory. He knew that I would be able to make it through these past few months without His help. This was His way of drawing me closer to Him. So if you think that you have one thing in your life that's a fault or something that is just imperfect about you, it's probably a way that God's speaking to you and trying to draw you closer to Him. I really can't stress the importance of spending time reading God's Word and praying. It helped me through this time in my life when I felt like I had no hope. And the healing that's taken place in my life in the past few months is kind of unbelievable. I never thought that I felt like I'd never feel normal again, and I'm starting to feel normal again, and that's really encouraging. So just continue to pray for me through that, and that's my story.